Ben Simmons.
Hey everyone, this is basketball-loving Dr. NBA. Today I've got an interesting story to share with you. 3 important positions exist in this sport: blocking and getting rebounds in the paint zone, a trustworthy center. Rebounding, dribbling, and scoring points and other various skills is a forward. And lastly, speed, dribbling, passing, and 3 points as their special is the guard. Out of those 3, the guard from the outside controls the ball and have to have various offensive methods, and they need to be able to shoot 3-pointers. But if their shot success rate for 3-pointers are below the average area, every time the player misses a 3-point shot, the fans will start to heckle them. But ironically enough, there is one guard that even though he misses 3-point shots, the fans don't heckle him, yet are satisfied with him. And to add on to that, 2 years after he debuted, he did not make one successful 3-point shot, not even once. Then in a situation like this where he should be stopped from shooting, why do the fans keep wanting him to shoot 3-pointers? It's a very unique case. We will talk about this main character, Ben Simmons, in this video. In 1996, Melbourne suburb of Victoria, Australia, Ben Simmons was born, with an African-American father and an Australian mother as a half-blood. His father graduated university in the States and moved to Australia in 1989 and played basketball there, where he met Simmons' mother and got married in 1994. And at the time, his mother already had 4 children and got a new family member, which was Ben Simmons, and was loved and cared by all of them. The love for basketball came quickly for him, touching a basketball for the first time when he was 6 months old and would play one-on-one with his father at a young age, which made him enjoy the sport even more. 15 months after his birth, his dad transferred teams to Newcastle, making the whole family move. And growing up there, he would watch the NBA and the Philadelphia Sixers guard who showed great performance, Allen Iverson's games, and would start practicing dribbling like him. And as time passed, at 7 years old, after his father retired and was a coach for the elementary school, he joined that team and officially started playing basketball. At the same time, played rugby as well. And when he was only 10 months old, he started walking, showing how fast he developed. And in sports that needed great physique, he always had the advantage. And when he hit 10 years old, he went back to Melbourne and attended school there. But while playing basketball, he also played the most popular sport there, which was the Australian rule football. And he was even good enough to get an award for it. This most likely helped him in the NBA because of how hard he worked there. And not just that, he was good with his feet and was pretty decent at soccer as well. So if he picked any sport, he probably would have gone pro anyways. So he spent his early teens playing various sports, and Simmons, in 2011, at age 15, started to only focus on basketball. And the reason being was that his father's former teammates saw Simmons' talent and asked him to follow him and play for Australia on a national level as a star, more like a favorite though. And only being 15 years old, his height was similar to his father's. And Simmons would lead a school team all around the nation showing great performance, and shook all the scouters around the world, and he was invited to various basketball camps that were sponsored by Adidas and other companies. And as a result, he went to the States and got training with many prospects around the world, and decided to move abroad and live in the States. And plus that, he had never been able to beat his father on one-on-ones, but in 2012 at age 16 he beat him for the first time. And after returning from camp, seeing his son throw in-your-face dunks on him, he decided to quit basketball. And so Simmons in Australia would be a top prospect, but in the 2012 U17 Basketball World Cup, he faced prospects from the States in the finals and was not able to do anything against them, losing by 30 points. And plus that, his average in those 8 games was 9 points, 1.1 assists, and 5.4 rebounds, making him just a typical player. Leaving Simmons feeling bitter, he decided to be the top out of all the American prospects. And in January of 2013 in Orlando, Florida, he enrolled in a high school academy called Monteverde and focused on training his speed and strength. In the 2013-14 season, playing the position of a power forward on the team, Simmons, with his tall height, did not seem dull, and had speed that was hard to guard, and explosive dribbling and passing skills to back it up. And being in an upgraded condition starting the season, his team did not lose once entering the National High School Tournament, gained the championship and the MVP title. His average at the time was 18.5 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 2.7 assists, and at a high of 69 shot success rate. And in his next 14-15 season, he entered the same tournament, got the championship and the MVP again. With an average of 28 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 4 assists, with a 70-shot success rate showing great records. And superstar LeBron James, when he was in high school in the past, his average was 30.4 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 4.9 assists, with a 56-shot success rate, showing he was on par with him. And there was a lot of talk about Simmons due to that, saying there was another top prospect in the Rising, showing all kinds of compliments. And being top ranked in high school, he entered Louisiana University, and that prestigious university is where the 4-time NBA champion center Shaquille O'Neal attended. In November, when the 15-16 season started, Simmons, showing great performance, helped win the first 3 games. But including his team, there were 14 teams in the Southeastern Conference, which was a higher tier, and so lost 3 consecutive games in a row. And so it determined Simmons after that in a game on December 2nd, 2015. He put up 43 points and rescued them from losing straight, carrying his team to victory. After that, showed great performance, consistently, with an average of 19.2 points, 11.8 rebounds, and 4.8 assists, and being known as a top player in university, but his team's record was not as good. Plus that, after losing in the Southeastern Conference, they did not make it to the top 64. But fortunately, it was not a big problem for Simmons' future in basketball. In fact, after finishing his first year and entering the 2016 NBA draft, he stood tall and was picked first overall. Going abroad with the mindset of being the best prospect 3 years ago, this young player really made it reality. The team that picked Simmons was the Philadelphia 76ers, and the head coach for this team had coached for 10 years in an Australian pro team, and had even coached Simmons' father at one point. With those reasons, the head coach showed no hesitation in picking Simmons, and even gave Simmons the position of point guard that he always wanted. And at that time, the key player of the team was injured and returning, making the fans more excited for the 16-17 season that was coming. But 7 months before the regular season started, rookies and unknown players entered in the Summer League to test their skills, and Simmons, in the 6th game, pulled muscles on both legs and had to rest. And in training camp on September 30th, fractured his ankle as well. With anticipation of his debut, both Simmons and the fans were waiting for his performance, but were heartbroken with his injury. And because he was in rehabilitation and healing, he was not able to play a single game and threw away the 16-17 season just like that. And as a result, in the 17-18 season, he debuted as a late rookie. At 6'10", 240 pounds, Simmons would control the movement and play of the ball as the point guard, and for opposing point guards, they could not handle his physical traits. And plus that, after rehab and training for a year, he was faster than he was in university, and his ability to drive the ball for the point and pass to open areas were considered to be equal to the NBA veterans of the league. In the start of the season, in the 4th game, he got 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists, being the first player in NBA history to get a triple-double that quickly after debuting. In his first 10 games had an average of 17.8 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 8 assists, and critics and the fans believed he was a candidate for the Rookie of the Year that early in the season, probably because for the past 5 years the 76ers were in the lower rankings of the league, but suddenly were in the top rankings, making people believe he deserved the award even more. Till the end of the regular season, with his driving ability, leading the team's tactics resulted in Philadelphia, out of 15 teams in the Eastern Conference, coming 3rd, and after a long time finally entered the playoffs. With his long reach and physique, he was good at pressuring on defense, and it worked well in the first round, and even irritated the opposing guard to hit him in the back of the head. Winning the first round with ease, going 4-1, Simmons faced the Boston Celtics in the second round. And at that time, the key players of Boston were out because of injury, and most fans believed the 76ers would win and anticipated Simmons' performance. Going against Boston, the confident Philadelphia players went 4-1, losing completely. In all 5 games, Simmons' offensive methods did not work, and only scored 1 point in one of the games. The reason behind the loss was Simmons' short shooting range and his 3-point shots that were the most fatal. He was not able to get one 3-point shot made after debuting, and did not like shooting 3-pointers at all. Since playing in university, he had a tendency to not shoot 3-pointers, and even was not confident in shooting mid-range shots and didn't attempt many. most of his points were in the paint zone, or a couple of floater shots or hook shots. His offense was extremely monotonous. And plus that, his physical play was pretty passive. When playing against top defensemen, he couldn't push off, post-ups, and would only dribble his way for the shot. These methods may have worked while playing 82 games in the regular season, but with a desire for the championship in the playoffs against high-tier defense, there was no chance. Opposing players would not pressure Simmons at the three-point line, knowing he wouldn't shoot them, and would only stop the driving lane or the passing lane. In front of a 5-against-4 defensive situation, he lacked the skill to shoot or post up, making Simmons turn the ball over or make unnecessary passes or driving attempts, so his only option was to give his position to another teammate. But the problem was, the team's offensive tactics was always based around Simmons, so by changing that, the team would obviously be not adapted, and so the 76ers fell against the half a team, the Boston Celtics. Even with an obvious weakness, and with the consideration of being a rookie, his average in the first season was 15.8 points, 8.2 assists, and 8.1 rebounds, making him worthy of getting the Rookie of the Year award in his debut year. But his shoot range being the reason of their loss, one interview asked Simmons if he had any plans on improving his shooting range, and he answered coldly by saying he had no intentions. And at that time, his free throw success rate was at 56%, and seeing how he reacted in the interview, the fans were in shock. So with nothing much changing and with his short-range shots, the 18-19 season started, and Simmons in his opening game met Boston and lost to them again. And just like that in the last season, they made it to the second round of the playoffs, but facing the strong defensive team, the Toronto Raptors, they were eliminated once again. With being able to stand against big men due to his physique, his speed, passing sense, and sight, many fans, when seeing Simmons getting held back because of his lack of shooting range, showed many frustrations. And even NBA legend Kobe Bryant said that Simmons should work on his shots, and teammate Joel Embiid and the head coach, with the hope of him going to higher places, told him the importance of three-point shots. After accepting this, he started to show motivation on working on his shots, and soon after started working on his three-points and mid-range shots. In fact, he was good at making three-point shots in practice, but in a non-pressure situation, NBA players that don't usually shoot can shoot three-pointers as well. And going beyond practice, he needs to shoot confidently in games. In the first bit of the 19-20 season, he made a couple of three-pointers, but still didn't attempt many. And now, Simmons in his third year, showing determination on working on his three-pointers. There is still potential in him in the future. Plus that, he signed a huge contract with the team already. So aside from three-pointers, hopefully he can live up to that worth in the 19-20 season. Okay, this is it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more content. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe.